there is a massive daddy long legs on. At first I thought it was on the inside of my window, but I think it's now on the outside, but it's just sitting there, and yeah, keeping my eye on you. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Welcome to the new subscribers. I've just seen the number go up a little bit more lately, and just hi, thank you so much for coming to my little corner of the internet. And I will say, question of the day, just to start off, what is your favourite book? I want to start a question of the day, but yeah, if you tell me what your favourite book is in the comments, that'd be great. So yeah, today's book is Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell. So I'll just get up the front cover for you. There you go. This was a different pace to the other Lisa Jewell books that I've read so far, because I started off with The Family Remains and The Family Upstairs. To be honest, I think I did The Family Remains, a little bit of the audiobook first, and then realised it was a follow-on from The Family Upstairs, so then I went back to The Family Upstairs, then went back to The Family Remains, and then I've also done None of This Is True, the audiobook, which, oh, it was so good. If you're going to read None of This Is True, I definitely recommend the audiobook. It was excellent. But yes, I'll just get into with the blurb of The Invisible Girl. You don't see her, but she sees you. Midnight, in an area of urban wasteland where cats hunt and foxes shriek, a girl is watching. When Sapphire Maddox was 10, something terrible happened, and she's carried the pain of it ever since. The man who she thought was going to heal her didn't, and now she hides, learning his secrets invisible in the shadows. Owen Pick is invisible too. He's never had a girlfriend, he's never even had a friend. Nobody sees him, and nobody cares. But when Sapphire goes missing from opposite his house on Valentine's night, suddenly the whole world is looking at Owen, accusing him, holding him responsible for Sapphire's disappearance. So this is 416 pages in crime, thriller and psychological fiction. As I said, I felt like this was a slightly different pace than the other ones that I've done by Lisa Jewell. I quite enjoyed the slightly different pace of it. You start off at the beginning meeting Kate, C-A-T-E, and her husband Rowan, R-O-A-N. So you've got two very unique spellings of what are fairly normal names. And their kids, Georgia. Is it Georgia or Georgina? I want to say it's Georgia. And Josh. I was going to say Liam, and it's just like, where the hell did Liam come from? Joshua. And so you're starting off with seeing them in a house. They had issues with their old house, so they're just renting this house for now until they can get back into their own. There's references to the creepy guy across the road, which is Owen Pick from the blurb, and there's lots of references to how creepy he is, setting the groundwork for what's coming, basically, in regards to Owen's storyline. And at the beginning of the book, a friend of Georgia's, Tilly, is assaulted outside their home. You then later find out that Tilly recants her story and says, no, nothing happened. And Georgia goes into the idea that Tilly is known for embellishing, lying, and so you're not completely sure what's going on. My brain went straight into, she'd been threatened somehow to recant her story because she doesn't come over as much after the assault happens. And it's a very common theme throughout the book that you're very aware that there are lots of sexual assaults happening in the area. And so it becomes part of the story trying to figure out, like, is it somebody that we've already been introduced to that is doing these assaults, or is it just part of a common theme? State where the characters are mentally throughout the book, with the fact that they are on high alert to the fact that this is happening, and feeding into Sapphire's storyline. So yeah, you see it from Kate's point of view, you then also see it from Sapphire's point of view, and you also see it from Owen's point of view. So you get in chapters all the way through of Sapphire before. When Sapphire goes missing, you're still getting Sapphire's story leading up to Valentine's night, and what happened before she went missing. You've also got Owen in the present, who was a teacher I think he's a university lecturer. He is first put on leave and then he quits his job. He's accused of sexual assault against students, and there's a common theme there about the fact that all these events seem to happen when he has had a couple of drinks, but he remembers everything completely differently, and he's just like, I never did this, I never did that. He's accused of leering over some of the girls and flicking his sweat onto their faces and things, and he's just there going, if that happened, it was an accident. And you're very much, when going through Owen's point of view, it was just like, obviously there's something about him because everybody described him as creepy, and it's just like, for some people there was just that gut instinct of, I don't feel safe around this person. Not everybody has that instinct, but there's a lot of people that do. And so I'm just thinking, as we were going through Owen's storyline, I was just there going, there were times when I felt sorry for him, but at the same time I was just there going, when a lot of people are accusing you of this and saying how creepy you are, and where you've behaved quite horribly in front of people, when you're getting a lot of people, sometimes it could just be people jumping on the bandwagon, but it felt like a common theme. And it's just like that idea of just like, sometimes if you meet like one arsehole in the day, you met one arsehole. If you've met multiple arseholes, maybe you're the arsehole. And so yeah, that's where my brain was going through Owen's storyline when he was trying to defend himself, and I was just thinking, no, obviously he's done something. The fact that a lot of people describe him as creepy, and he is living in his aunt's apartment, and he has no access to like certain rooms in the house, like his aunt won't let him, so he only has access to a couple of rooms. Even when she's away, she will lock certain rooms, and he is 32, 33, and he is very much a loner. He's never had a relationship. He talks about how he doesn't feel like he's the kind of person to have relationships at times because he just doesn't know how to talk to women, and I was just there thinking, that is definitely leaning into what his behaviour might be like when he is around girls. But yeah, so having those elements of feeling sorry for him, and then seeing some of the things he does, and it's just like, mate, stop. He's offered to go on a course so he can learn how his behaviour might be impacting others, and he goes, no, I'd rather quit than do one of those awareness courses. I'm just like, mate, it sounds like something that you should do, because there were times throughout the book when you're just like, this is a guy who seems like he wants to learn from his mistakes. There's a point when he meets up with somebody on an incel forum when he's really, really angry about what's happened. He visits an incel forum. Yeah, it feels weird to be concentrating so much on Owen, but he is such a big part, because a lot of the events and the big moment of Sapphire going missing affects his storyline, because you realise that he has a bit of a blackout when he's drinking, and so he can't remember that night very well. So when the police do interview him and they find some incriminating evidence outside of his window, he's just there going, I can't remember. He's having splashes of memories, but yeah, his whole storyline, it's very much a character growth for Owen as he realises what's happening, what's going on, and he starts to study his own behaviour. With Sapphire, as I said in the blurb, she was a victim of an assault when she was like 10, 11 years old. In the book she's 16, 17, and when she had counselling and therapy, her therapist was Rowan, Kate's husband. And so through Sapphire's chapters you find out that after having therapy with him and being told that she didn't need to see him anymore, even though she had kept secrets from her therapist, she didn't tell him the full reason why she was there, and he goes, oh, I think you're at a point when I think we can stop seeing each other. And Sapphire garners a bit of an obsession with watching Rowan and finds out one of Rowan's secrets, and that secret is a big part of the story, so I'm not going to say what the secret is, but through following him she finds out something about Rowan which tarnishes her memories of him and looking up to him and realising, oh, he's just a human being who makes mistakes, and in this case he's making a big one. And through Kate's storyline, you see actually Kate, because of the running theme about the sexual assaults in the area of people getting groped and harassed in the streets, Kate starts questioning and wondering about the men in her life, and because there is so much emphasis on Owen being creepy, a lot of it goes into, he presents as creepy, so he might have done this, and it's just like, okay, we're making a lot of assumptions here. which, to be fair, as a reader, you make a lot of assumptions, because, yeah, I'll admit, I was waiting for that twist to come, because Lisa Jewell seems to be an author that likes to change things and do the breadcrumbs and then also pop a little bit of twist on you towards the end, and she did not disappoint with that twist, like in the last couple of pages of this book, when you're just like, oh my goodness, I should have seen that coming. I should have. And to be honest, in regards to that twist, especially regarding the sexual assault and the moments of harassment of other characters in the book, there's a few people that you're just like, oh, was it this person or was it this person? And to be honest, I did question who it did end up being. Yes, I'm trying to be very cryptic here because I don't want to spoil it. I'll admit, there's a lot of unlikable characters in here, you know, because with Owen, even though you're sympathetic to him, he comes across as quite unlikable at times because he's just so much in his own bubble. Like, he doesn't think about how other people perceive him. He's like anti-PC, anti-political correctness. He's like, political correctness gone mad, and it's just like, no, some of it is actually like warranted and things that you really need to think about in regards to how you treat people. Owen very much at the beginning does not really want to confront his behaviour or what happens when he drinks, because you become aware of the fact that he's not quite as much like that when he is sober, because as somebody who is actually quite shy and is not very good at speaking to girls, even admits in one of his police interviews, just like, why on earth would I do this when I can barely muster to talk to a girl? And then they pick up on it, just like, have you noticed that a lot of these stories seem to happen when you've had a few? Yeah, so his relationship with alcohol is called into question quite a few times in the book. I feel like I've been going on for ages. I just found it fascinating to look at this book. Lisa Jewell is a very interesting author in the way that she presents her stories. And to be honest, because none of this is true, really was my favourite so far of the ones that I've listened to. I think it has to do with the production of it as well, because it was an audiobook. So it felt a bit slower, but not in a bad way. And it's just because there was a lot of breadcrumbs happening. And seeing Tilly's reversal on what happened to her is a big part of it. Because you're just like, who was she afraid of? So you've got Tilly's assault, or not, because you're not completely sure whether to believe her because she recants her story. She's accused of lying quite a lot, and it goes into that whole questioning the victim's mentality. But the fact that she does recant her story really does put a big question mark over what happened, and I'm just there thinking, no, I believe that this girl has been threatened and is scared for her life, and that is why she decided not to, because it sounds like to me that she knew her attacker. Yeah. You're looking very much at the effects of sexual assaults and the things that will prevent survivors from coming forwards, and also looking at the mentality of somebody who has been accused of doing horrible, horrible things, and thinking, especially when he goes onto the incel forums and he makes a friend with somebody and decides to meet them in person, and he was just like, I'm not that, because he meets somebody who is very active on the incel forums, who has like this idea of like what men are going to do to stand up to like the world that is not giving them what they want. And after one meeting with this guy, Owen is there going, no, that guy is pure crazy. There's no way on earth that I can identify with somebody like that. So he has his limits as Owen. He just needs to confront it. That's the main thing. But yeah, I feel like I'm just waffling on at this point. But it's just, there's so much, and it is so clever how it looks at that. And especially with Tilly coming out and going, oh, actually, no, I've changed my mind. No, nothing happened. And I just went straight into the idea that she's been threatened. But you've got so many people questioning that story and thinking, well, her best friend said that she embellishes and lies, so do we want to believe her, do we not want to believe her? And that also ties into Sapphire's storyline in regards to what happened when she was 10 years old, and the fact that that's something that she chooses not to share. But yeah, it's definitely something that Sapphire, even through her therapy, it was something that she could never acknowledge. It was something that was so difficult to bear that she was just like, I can't even share this with somebody who is supposed to be trying to help me. And yeah, it's a powerful story about women and the courage to come forward, and also slightly looking at the other side of it with Owen when he is accused, and he says, like, oh no, this has been either taken out of context, or, you know, I remember it very differently, and realising that he is somebody who needs to learn from himself and grow if he actually wants to become a better person, because he even though at first he feels like he identifies with the incel forums, once he really gets into it, he was just like, no, this is too far even for me. So yeah, it's just an interesting look at that. So yeah, if you want to read something, as I said, massive trigger warning for sexual assault and sexual abuse, because it is such a big part of it, so it can be difficult to read at times. Obviously do your own research, because obviously only you know what you can handle. I might tell you this, but it might present slightly differently to somebody else, as with anything, which is why so many people have so many different opinions on different things. It was just like my relationship with the Eloise book of Bridgerton. I've just seen so many people saying how they didn't like that book, but my own relationship with depression made me appreciate that book and what it was trying to do, whereas other people with depression might see it in a different light based on their own personal relationship with depression. So when it comes to sexual assault, everybody has their own personal experiences with it, so yeah, just do what you need to do to protect yourself. But yeah, I just found this a really good book. As I said, I did find it a little bit slower, but ultimately I did enjoy it, and it really did make me think. It's been a couple of days since I finished this, because I finished this at work. Yeah, I just found it really clever and powerful, and even through all of it, I think I was more invested in Owen and Sapphire than I was the family, but with the way the twist and stuff, things do come back to the family in a way. And yeah, I just found it quite clever, and looking at the secrets that people were hiding. But yeah, so if you like a good crime thriller psychological thing, I think this might be right up your alley, like it was me. So Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell. There you go. As I said at the beginning, if you want to share what your favourite book is, you can pop it in the comments, and if there's anything that I haven't heard of before, I might check it out. Yeah, I'm still watching that Legs. I don't know why, it's just there. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and hello again to the new subscribers. It's very nice to have you here. But yes, so thank you, and I will see you next time. I'll see you on Sunday. I'll see you on Sunday for a series Sunday. Mwah. I love you all. Goodbye. Hello everybody. Welcome back to... I just did right at myself. Good on you, Debs. Still watching you, mate. Still watching you.